Now, one last thing I want to show you on the Kindle Fire that I didn't really show you much because I like to block out my name up top here is that you can change the orientation on the device. You can change it any way you want. You can view things in it portrait mode the way it is now. You can flip it 180 degrees and view it in portrait mode the other way, or you can view it in landscape mode. Let me flip it to landscape mode so you can see. Just wanted to show you that it could be done. Now, one of the things about this tablet in landscape mode is that when you bring up the keyboard, you don't have a whole lot of space in here. Let me bring that up again. You have a very little space here. So if you're actually typing something, sometimes I'll respond to comments on my YouTube page that you guys leave, and I'll do it on this device here, and it leaves me a very little window to actually see between the keyboard here and the the menu bar up here. It leaves very little space here, and that's because the aspect ratio on this is about 16 by 9.5, like I covered before. So it's very long and thin when you have it in landscape mode like this. So it makes things a little bit difficult to type, especially when, like I said, I'm responding to you guys, your comments on my YouTube page. But not a big deal, just something I thought was worth mentioning. So at the end of the day, what do I think on the Kindle Fire versus the Apple iPad 2? As I touched on before, both are tablet devices, but they offer you very different experiences. And I like to see that because, like I said, it means that the tablet market is starting to mature. You're starting to have tablets that cater to different people's wants and needs. For instance, a 9.7-inch tablet might be the perfect size for some people, whereas a 7-inch tablet might be the perfect size for others. You might be in love with Apple's ecosystem and the way it handles apps, or the smoothness and the polish of their devices. Or you might really like Amazon, their products and services. You might want an e-reader that does a little bit more than an e-ink e-reader. To me, the Amazon Kindle Fire is the first ever tablet to get it right. And what I mean by that is that for my needs, I don't use a tablet as my main computing device. I like to have a tablet as a companion to when I'm doing other things. So if I'm watching TV, I like to have a tablet by my side that I can reference things. I can look things up really quick. I could check an email. I can play a word on Words with Friends. And then if I want to get more serious in my computing, I go to my laptop. That's where I go to get my work done. The Apple iPad 2 for me is a little too big and a little too pricey. My Asus laptop that I did an unboxing on my channel, so you can check it out, cost less than the lowest end Apple iPad 2. And it does much more. It's a Core i5 2nd generation processor from Intel, and it's an awesome laptop. The Apple iPad 2 does a lot of really cool things. You have a lot of apps that are touch-centric that you can't get on a laptop. But at the end of the day, I get my work done on my laptop, and then if I want something on top of that, this tablet is perfect for my needs. Your needs might be different, but for my needs, a 7-inch tablet is perfect. It's more portable. Steve Jobs was famously quoted as saying, 7-inch tablet, you're going to have to sand down your fingers so you can use it. Well, Apple puts out a 3.5-inch phone, one of the smallest screens on any cell phone out there right now, and millions of people have no problem using it. So there's no way anybody's going to have problems using a 7-inch tablet. To me, the Kindle Fire wins in a couple of areas. Number one, price. So just like I showed you before, you could actually fit 2 Kindle Fires into the footprint of an Apple iPad 2. And guess what? Those 2 Kindle Fires would be less expensive than one Apple iPad 2. I have the lowest end Apple iPad 2 here, and it was $500, $499. 2 Kindle Fires would cost you $400, or actually $398. So you could buy 2 Kindle Fires and have $100 left over for the same price you'll spend on an Apple iPad 2. I don't have a need for a tablet. A tablet is a luxury device. And I don't really use a tablet all that much. Like I said, I love to have one next to me so I can reference things. But I don't need to do that. I could have my laptop next to me if I wanted to, but it's just nicer to have a smaller device. I've owned a Motorola Zoom. I've owned an HP touchpad. I've owned several iPad 2s. And I always feel guilty owning it because at the end of the day, I use it for words with friends and looking up a couple of things, and that's it. It doesn't warrant the price tag of $499. Or in the case of the Zoom when I first bought it, $799. If a tablet was more useful, then it would warrant the price. Now, Amazon supposedly loses about $2 on every Kindle sold, which is not a big deal because they'll probably make it back on whatever you buy from them. But they're not making a profit on this device. Apple is making a profit on their tablets, as are many of the other tablet manufacturers. And I'm not begrudging any company making a profit at all. That's what they're in the business to do. I'm not saying every company should lose money on the tablet they sell. But even if this device sold for $249, it would be a much better value. And then Amazon would still make money on it. The other area where this tablet excels is the size, and I touched on it before. The size, to me, is perfect. If you want to use it as an e-reader and you want to read in bed, it's a nice small device. And if you fall asleep with it in your hands, you're not going to get a bruise from the device the next morning. It's very nice and compact, about the size of a paperback, maybe just a little bit bigger, not as thick, but a little bit bigger. And the third and final area where the Kindle Fire excels is that it's positioned as a media consumption device. It's not trying to be a laptop replacement. It's not trying to be a computer replacement. It's just trying to be what it is. So sure, you give up a microphone, you give up Bluetooth, you give up a camera, but I don't necessarily need all of that. For my uses, this device does everything I need it to, and I don't feel guilty owning it. For $199, it definitely earns its keep. It gives me $199 of use. Any other tablet I've ever owned was not worth the money I spent on it. Now, if everybody liked the same thing, this world would be a very boring place. So what do you guys think? Do you prefer the Apple iPad 2? Tell me why in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you really like the Amazon Kindle Fire? Also tell me in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I've made up my mind. I really like the Kindle Fire. I really like the device. It's money well spent. And definitely, hands down, my favorite tablet I've ever owned. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.